Welcome to Niner Nation, everyone, and thank you for watching our virtual student panel. So we're here to answer your frequently asked questions, and you're going to hear from some current students about their experience at UNC Charlotte. So if y'all want to introduce yourselves, we'll get started.
Hi everyone, my name is Autumn Little, and I am a senior exercise science major, public health minor from Richmond, Virginia.
Hello everyone, my name is Miko Quijano. I am a freshman. I am a marketing major with a minor in dance, and I am from Richlands, North Carolina.
Hi everyone, my name is Talia. I am a sophomore political science major, legal studies minor from Raleigh, North Carolina.
And my name is Sarah Wood. I'm a junior studying psychology and sociology with a minor in communications, and I'm from Cary, North Carolina, and I'll be your moderator today. So our first question for our students is, what does your typical day look like on campus?
So as a freshman, a typical day for me is I set up all my classes in the morning. So I usually wake up, get breakfast, and then I head out of my housing hall, then I head straight to my classes, which takes no time. And I have classes ranging from 9 to 12, which is 3 classes. And after that, I get some lunch with some friends, and then I have the whole rest of the day to myself, whether that be spending times on clubs or really studying and just really having some me time as well. And so yeah, that's how my typical day goes like right here. So.
Awesome. For me, I have a very packed schedule. So I wake up in the morning, I usually come into work. So I'm super lucky to have a job here on campus. And once I leave work, I go straight to class. I usually have about 2 back-to-back classes. Once I finish with that, I go to meetings for my organizations here on campus. So we get to have meetings, we'll host different events. And then once I'm done with that, I get to go home and enjoy the rest of my night.
All right, and we're gonna continue with my favorite question. Why did you choose UNC Charlotte?
So I chose UNC Charlotte. I came here on a tour and absolutely loved the campus. It's so beautiful, so open, and everything is always up to date. After my tour, I went to speak with an admissions counselor, and she was very genuine and authentic during the whole process, talking to me about the admissions process and how to get into UNC Charlotte and actually attend school here. Out of all the schools I attended, no admissions counselor gave me the feeling that they actually wanted me to be here, and so that's one thing that really resonated with me after touring UNC Charlotte.
And for me, I came on my first campus tour as a junior in high school, and by the time I submitted my intent to enroll, I had visited campus 4 more times. So it's pretty clear that I couldn't stay away. I was mainly attracted to all the growth on campus. The light rail was coming to campus, they were building tons of new buildings, and the tour guides really emphasized that I could be part of that growth and the newness here in Charlotte. And I saw organizations that were represented on campus that I wanted to join, and the student body was just so friendly, inviting me to talk to them, giving me directions, and making me feel like I could be part of the Niner Nation community. So that's how I ended up here. Our next question is about the other schools that you applied to during your college admissions process. Tell us some about that.
So for me, as an out-of-state student, my parents only allowed me to apply to one out-of-state school, and UNC Charlotte was my top choice, so this was that one school for me. I also applied to a couple of different schools in Virginia, including Old Dominion and James Madison, but my biggest thing was I wanted to be at a university that felt like home. So I knew I wanted to be out-of-state. Even though I could only apply to one out-of-state school, I knew what I wanted. I wanted to go to a school that had my major, a school that I would do well, and a school that I would be able to study abroad. So that was one of my biggest things. I love to travel, and I wanted to make sure that with my major, I would still be able to travel and do all the things that I loved.
And for me, growing up in the Raleigh area, most of my friends from my high school were applying to NC State and Chapel Hill. They're both really great schools. So I applied to both of those as well, in addition to UNC Charlotte. But what ended up kind of finalizing my decision of where I wanted to go was the fact that I could try something completely new, live in a new city, and then be part of that family atmosphere that Autumn was talking about. So that's what ended up making my decision. Our next question is a pretty commonly asked one by guests. Are there parties on campus? Tell us more about that.
So we have an organization called CAB, which stands for Campus Activities Board, and what they do is they put on events throughout campus weekly. We have a lot of huge events here, so we have concerts, they'll invite celebrities, comedians, magicians. It's a good time here. So yeah, I would say we have a few parties here on campus.
Outside of parties, like Talia said, with CAB, they'll also hold different events like paint and mocktails. So you'll get to go in. It's free for students. All you have to do is have your student ID, and they'll bring in people to teach you how to paint, which I think is really awesome. They'll also have people come in and teach you how to do sushi. I know last semester my organization put on a festival, which was really awesome. So we had different rides, we had food trucks come. So outside of parties, which is really great, there are tons of different free activities for students to do on campus. So there's never a dull time.
All right, in terms of roommate problems, can you tell us about the process that happens if those take place, or kind of how you can find people that you love to live with?
So for me, my housing was randomly assigned. So the transition to having a roommate was a little bit tough, but me and my roommate had a little bit of problems, such as you know, like cleaning up after ourselves just a little bit here and there, and just really figuring out how housing really works. But really, we just like sat down and talked to each other, like really just like told each other like what's been going on, or just really anything like that. And since we got those problems like up in the air, we've been trying to like figure them out, and once those problems were addressed, we got to going, and we've been adapting to the situation, and we've been making better. And my roommate is my best friend now, so that's how I resolved the problem for that one.
I will say that through our Housing and Residence Life office, they do a really good job of making sure that students have a comfortable living atmosphere. So if you do end up having roommate issues, you can try to change out of housing the following semester and move rooms. They also allow you to make roommate groups within the housing application. So if you're coming into UNC Charlotte with friends that are going to join you here, you can make a roommate group in the application and then end up living together. And you can also do that any other semester while you're in college. That's how I ended up living with my best friends on campus. The next question is, what type of organizations are offered on campus and how do you get involved?
So here at UNC Charlotte, we have over 400 organizations. As a student, you're able to go on this website called Niner Engage, and on that website are all the organizations here, along with how you can apply for them. Out of the 400, if you don't see an organization that you feel like resonates with you, you're more than welcome to start your own. UNC Charlotte also gives grants to organizations, so if you're trying to put on programs, you don't have to worry about coming out of pocket. They'll work with you and find out ways how they can fund you and your organization.
Also, with that being said, one of the biggest reasons that I chose UNC Charlotte was because of how diverse the university was, not only in our student population, but also in what was offered on campus. So we have different organizations that range from study abroad organizations to learning a different language to just going outside and playing like with Nerf guns, zombies. So definitely tons of different options and different things to get involved in.
All right, we're going to move a little bit more into classroom questions. So tell us about the biggest and smallest class you've had and how you navigate that process as an incoming student.
I came from a very small town, so our classes range from 10 to 20 students. And so coming to UNC Charlotte, where I went into a class with 150 to like the 100 ranges, it was a little bit tough. The transition was a little bit tough. But even though we are a huge and fast-growing university, we do have that small campus feel, and professors do have office hours. And so I always take it upon myself to go visit my professors and go visit them in their office hours to really get to know more about them, but just have that comfortable relationship with them, so it's really nice as well. But then I also have a few smaller classes, especially if you want to go up to your upper level classes. And so now I have one of my classes which is like 10 to 15 students, and it is great because it's very much of a discussion class, and we just have a lot of discussions, and I just feel like I can make a lot of friends in big or small classes, so it's great.
And can you say more about what to do when you're struggling in a class? You mentioned office hours, so feel free to weigh in too if you guys have used resources that really helped you.
So here at UNC Charlotte, we have a program called UCAE, and that is our tutoring services here at our university. They range from in person to online. They also work with students in how they like to learn. So some students are visual learners, some are auditory, and some like you actually have to show them how to do things. And so they'll work with you that way as well. If you don't feel comfortable being tutored by a faculty member or a professor, you're more than welcome to be tutored by a peer. And so that is someone who took that class and received an A in it.
I'll also stress the importance of your teacher assistants in your courses. Not every class has them, and some have more than one. I was a teacher assistant for one of my psychology classes, and I really enjoyed it. And my role was to have office hours like my professors did to make sure students could come to me with questions about the course content. And then I also could hold study sessions to review the material before exams. Also, as a student, I utilized my teacher assistants a lot. In one of my first psychology courses that was pretty biology heavy, I was struggling a little bit, and so I made weekly appointments with one of my TAs, and I ended up doing well in the class at the end of the semester. So they're a really, really valuable resource if you need some extra help but feel a little bit intimidated by your professor. All right, so we're going to talk more about student life. So Autumn, are there options for students who want to study abroad? You mentioned that that was a big pull for you for UNC Charlotte.
Absolutely. So there are tons of different options, whether you want to study abroad for a year-long program or you just want to go for a semester or even a spring break. That's one of the things that I loved. As a medical student, you can't go to other countries and practice what you're learning. So that was one thing that I was kind of hesitant about with studying abroad. But what I learned was that you could go for just a spring break or for a summer session. And with that, instead of going and taking courses, it's actually really hands-on. So that's one of the things that I really loved about study abroad, is that you have the option to either take classes or just go shadow doctors and dentists and pharmacists or whatever else you're interested in. So tons of different options. You just have to choose which one is best for you.
Where have you traveled?
So my freshman year I went to Nicaragua. My sophomore year I went to Honduras. My junior year I went to Panama, and then the end of my junior summer I went to Greece. So quite a few different places. Each experience was really, really different, which is something else that I really loved. Just getting to see how medical care is done differently in different countries compared to what I've seen while shadowing doctors and dentists here in the U.S.
Yeah, and kind of building off of that in the countries that I visited, I had never traveled abroad before getting to college, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be in the cards for me just because I'm a little bit of a homebody, but I was encouraged by a close faculty mentor to sign up for a faculty-led program over the summer. And I ended up spending a month in Jerusalem in Israel with the history department on campus, and we worked on an archaeological dig site there. And so I spent a month over my summer digging up old Roman artifacts in one of the oldest cities in the world. It was really, really cool. So it really doesn't matter what you major in, there's definitely a pathway to study abroad. All right, let's see. What are you guys involved in on campus? We've talked a little bit about being abroad and our typical class day. So say more about those organizations that you invest your time in.
Like everyone said, it's super easy to get involved, especially if you have 400 plus clubs. But the best part about that is if you don't see a club that you're really interested in, or you don't really see it on the list, you can go ahead and make it. So I took it upon myself the first semester of my freshman year to create this bridge between student athletes and regular students, and we called it Notorious Niners, and we were formed as the student section. And then we teamed up with the club called Student 49er Club, and we merged into one group, and it was great. I got networking, I met all the coaches, I met all the student athletes, and I really just talked to them about what do we need? It's what do you need from the students to really build support? And it was great. But on the other side of athletics, I do have other clubs such as, I am a Niner guy, love giving out tours, love being the impact or the influence to give students this is the reason why you should come to UNC Charlotte. I love that feeling, and I want to make sure everyone knows that UNC Charlotte is on the map. Also, I'm part of Housing, which is Resident Student Association. We are the club that really funds other housings for big projects or programs for their residents to have a fun. Recently we hosted a blood drive, and we teamed up with the American Red Cross, and it was a great thing to do, and we raised a lot of money and a lot of blood, so that was good.
For me, I've been involved in student government since middle school, so coming to UNC Charlotte, I knew that that was something that I wanted to do as soon as I stepped foot on campus. Once I got here, it was very easy for me to get involved. I actually ran for freshman class president and won, so my freshman year I was just putting on events for our freshman class. This year, I'm still involved in SGA as the press secretary. Outside of SGA, I'm involved in Niner Guides, so giving tours once a week to prospective students and their families. Other than that, I am also a mentor for UTOP and for SAFE, and so those two programs are very dear to my heart. I love mentoring, so if you come to UNC Charlotte and you love your freshman experience and you want to help out other freshmen during their first year here, you're more than welcome to apply for those positions.
You want to say anything about your clubs?
Sure, I will. I'm a part of Global Brigades, so that kind of encompasses a lot of different organizations on campus. We have 4 chapters. So we have a medical chapter, we have a business chapter, a dental chapter, and a public health chapter. So with Global Brigades, we get to travel internationally. So that's what I was talking about a little bit earlier about my study abroad programs. It's not only for medical students, you can also do it as a business or a public health student. So I am the president and campus chairperson for those organizations on campus. I just make sure that they run smoothly, that all the trips are happening as they should, and making sure that all of our volunteers and all of our executive board leaders feel like they're being heard and they have all the materials that they need.
Yeah, and for me, I'm part of Habitat for Humanity, so I do service trips over spring break that I really, really love. I've also been part of UNC Charlotte's Dance Marathon, so we partner with the Living Children's Hospital and put on a 24-hour dance marathon to raise money for the kids. But there's tons and tons of organizations on campus, as you can see. Some ways to get involved are to go to our student activity showcase during our first week of school that we call Gold Rush. So you guys can talk to club officers and write your name down to be contacted about participating in those. And you can also look at our online database called Niner Engage to view all of those organizations as a prospective student. Kind of in that same vein, can you guys speak to any internship opportunities you've had, on-campus employment, and using the Career Center?
So this past semester, during fall semester, I got an email from my political science advisor. They send out emails constantly on internships and jobs within the community. With that being said, I applied for an internship with Congresswoman Alma Adams. It was by far the best experience that I've had here at UNC Charlotte, being linked to that resource and that magnitude of greatness, and having an internship on my resume just as a sophomore is really awesome.
And building off of that is we do have a career center over here. So when I came in as a freshman, I really didn't feel like I was ready enough to really have a job because I felt like my resume was pretty blank. And so when I went to the Career Center, they really helped me structure and really have a professional resume, and it was great. But not only that, they do have an online service called Hire a Niner that aids students in getting a job off and off campus, and it is great. They also have something called a mock interview, and I love this. So if you ever have an interview for a job or even a club, they'll do an interview for you. And it's funny because if you go to the interview, they'll tell you how you did afterwards, and sometimes they'll tell you how many times you said and you'd be surprised how many times you say that. So it's great.
For me, I've had a couple of internship opportunities. The first one I did after my freshman year, I worked on an urban organic farm, which I love telling people because it doesn't relate to my major at all. But it was really, really cool experience to try something different when I was getting my feet wet with working. And then this past week, actually, I had a great experience with the Career Center. I went in for a career appointment with one of my close faculty mentors, and he found a position in Hire a Niner that he thought I should apply for. He sent that person my resume during our meeting. Within an hour, she had called me for an interview, and yesterday she offered me the job. So the Career Center really, really works. It is great advice to go as soon as you start school on campus, and then continue to visit those career counselors to get more advice, maybe send some people your resume, and you never know what's going to happen. All right, so will you guys speak a little bit to safety on campus and the resources that keep us here on campus?
Yeah, so with safety on campus, we have tons of different resources. So one of the biggest resources that I love is the blue light system. So with that, we have blue light poles that are all over campus. If there's ever an emergency, all you have to do is click the red button in the middle and tell them what's going on. We do have our own police department here on campus. So it's over 50 sworn in police officers who are here to serve just the UNC community, which is very helpful. If there's ever an emergency, they're right there. You don't have to call someone off campus to come give you help. But with that, the blue light systems are all tracked. So once you press that button in the middle, they know exactly where you are. So say you're running and you fall off your skateboard and you need medical services, as soon as you press that button, they know where you are and they can come directly to you. We also have Niner alerts. I think that's really important as well. So whenever there's something going on in the community, whether there's an emergency or it's a weather alert, because like a couple of months ago, there was a tornado outside out of nowhere. They will send you alerts so you know exactly what's going on while it's happening. So it keeps you up to date. Parents, friends, family, you can also sign up for that as well. So if you would like to know what's going on with your student, you can sign up for that and you'll get those alerts just like we do.
All right, and I think we have time for one more question. So if everyone would like to say one piece of parting advice they would give to prospective students.
Absolutely. So I'll start. One piece of advice that I would give is just to be true to yourself. So when you come to campus, there's going to be tons of different people doing tons of different things, but just realizing to find that one thing that is for you. So I came in thinking I was going to have one major and that's exactly what I was going to do for the rest of my life. And then I changed my major, I added a minor, and I realized that I'm my own person and I need to try different things to find what I really love.
My advice to you would be, whatever you put in is what you're going to get out, and that's really big. So if you really want to have really good grades, you want to put in a lot of studying time, use our resources, heavily use our resources, because for students it is free, and if it's free, it's for me. So definitely utilize your resources here on North Carolina, Charlotte. It's great. We have a ton of resources, so that's my advice to you.
My advice would be to not be afraid to make relationships and start relationships with new people. Now that you're in college, it's not just about what you know, it's about who you know as well. You never know who you're going to meet in an elevator, who you're going to meet across campus, or any person you may come in contact with may offer you your next job or may offer you your next internship. So don't be afraid to go out there, step out of your comfort zone, and meet new people.
And then the piece of advice that I would give is to be open-minded, and that's true for people and for experiences. I'm kind of the poster child for doing things outside my major, and it's really, really worth it. Just to try things, join a club just because it sounds cool, try an internship maybe even if you don't have experience with it, just for the professional connections, the experience, and it may develop into an interest that you didn't think that you would have. So you may change your major, you may change organizations, change friends, and that's all okay. It's part of your experience at UNC Charlotte. So thank you for watching. We're going to sign off today, and we're so excited for you guys to be part of Niner Nation.